future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Alrighty, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the live stream here on Let's Build Twitter. We are heading out of town in about 2 weeks. So the Freedom Tracker is kind of getting put on the backlog for now, and I think my daughter messed with my microphone again. So I'd love to see that. Let me just tweak it a little bit. Seems like it's a little bit loud. But anyway, we're heading out of town for a couple weeks. So like I'm not trying to get like as many episodes done, but I'm trying to get like the draft stuff done, draft post-modal stuff done, and then I should be able to record that before I leave and at least have some episodes ready. And then while we are away in Iowa, I will try to get like literally all of Let's Build Twitter done. So like right now I can drag this over. Right now this is what we have left. So we have this draft post modal. We need to fix this guy and make sure. How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon. We need to make sure this is working because I have no idea if we actually have any way to display a poll on the feed. This is broken. We want to rework views again, and then some of this stuff is broken as well that we'll work on inside draft post. And then we have some right sidebar work to do. This one is just like a quality of life thing that I need to figure out. And then these should be pretty simple. And then this stuff and this stuff. I might not be able to get like all of this done in the 3 weeks that I'm away. But I won't have anything else to work on basically. So I should just be able to kind of hunker down and work on that. But before I leave, I'm going to try to get this stuff done at the very least. And then we can tackle all of this other stuff. So that's kind of the game plan for the time being. Right now inside, whoops, this is why I want to debounce this. Right now to get to our drafts, we do this, we click on drafts. So right now we don't have any drafts. To actually create a draft, we can come in here and be like, okay, this is a draft post without a image slash images or GIF, and we'll need to create one with some. So now if you like click back, it's going to ask you, do you want to save the post or discard it? If you discard it, it just closes everything. So you can open this back up. I also want to fix the spacing, kind of jank. But we can go, this is a draft post without image slash images or GIF. And then if we click back and click save, it's going to close out of it. Now if we click on post again, click on drafts, you don't see anything, but you can notice that it doesn't say hold.thought anymore. But if we come back here, it says hold.thought because there's no post scheduled, but we have an unsent post. And then what I've been working on is whenever you click on edit, it pops this guy up, and we can either click select all, or we can individually select them. So I'm going to work on select all first, and I'll just basically select these phantom posts. And then once we can do that, we'll start actually rendering the posts and do a select of them as well. And then once we click select all, let's select all of them basically, and then we should be able to delete them. So with that being said, let's hop back into the code. So right now we have a select all post, and basically what this is just going to do is we need to check to see if what active tab we're on. So say if active tab is equal to, and I think this is unsent underscore post is how we set this up. I just need to double check this. So if active tab is equal to, let's see here, where's our tabs? Yep, unsent post, excuse me, had a yawn. So if it's equal to this unsent post, I went too far, then we want to go ahead and throw all of the posts that are in drafts in here. So then we're going to go ahead and say set selected for deletion. And since we're just selecting all of them, we'll go ahead and just do one of these, and then we'll just go ahead and say drafts. I think that should be fine. I think we can actually just pass this as well. And then otherwise, we'll go ahead and say selected for deletion, and then pass in our scheduled. Whoops. Scheduled. There we go. Give me a break this morning, y'all. And oh, this should be set selected. set selected for deletion, and set selected for deletion. Okay, and then that should enable the delete button, because the delete button is going to be checking to see if there's nothing in there. Now we select all, it enables that delete button, and we're good to go. And then there should be a way to like unselect them. So if you click done, it should unselect them. Click edit. So if we click done, we need to unselect those. So that's going to be an interesting challenge. Let's see if we can figure that out, because we don't know when done is clicked, right? So I guess we could do a use effect. Use effect that watches for done or for editing. Oops. Editing like so. And then if we're not editing, then we'll go ahead and say set selected for deletion. Whoops. Set selected for deletion and make this back empty. And we'll just reset that list basically. That should work. So yep, so now if we click done, click edit, select all, click done, select edit, we're good to go. Okay, so now we're modeling this off of this guy. So let me pull this over. So here's Twitter. We're modeling this off of Twitter. So on Twitter, basically if you click edit, it's gonna pop this guy up. And then we have select all and delete. Now we need to go ahead and create these, and there's not actually as much padding on here as I would have expected. That's kind of annoying to me, but what can you do? So let's go ahead and grab this. We should be able to hover over this button and still kind of get a good size of it. It's 96 by 36. So what we'll go ahead and do is just make it 36 tall, add some padding, and then make it whatever size it wants to be or length it wants to be. So if we come back in here, let's go ahead and grab our actions. And it doesn't look like there's like much padding on the actions, which is kind of annoying, but what can you do? So we did do an actions. We did 16 padding. It doesn't look like it has 16 padding on that bottom spacing, to be honest. It looks like there's like no padding on that bottom spacing. So there's like 4 pixels of padding around it, which is kind of annoying that they don't just like, it's kind of annoying that they aren't just consistent with things, but what can you do? Okay, so now we need our, let's see what the next one is. We need our buttons. So we'll have our draft post modal select all. So paste this guy in here. So width will just be fit dash content. Oops, fit content. And then our height will be 36 px, I believe is what it was. Let me double check. Just yoinking this straight from Twitter. 36, yep. And it's gonna have a padding of 0.16 px on it. And then now we can go and say color. It's gonna be our Twitter blue. So let me go ahead and yoink that. App TSX. Grab our blue color. Yoink that. Okay. And oops, paste it in here. Okay, we're gonna have a background dash color on it of transparent. We're gonna have a border of none. We're gonna have a border dash radius of 18 px. I'm trying to think of anything else we might want. We might also want to just display Plexus, justify content in the center, and align items in the center, just for good measures. Okay, and then we'll also go ahead and copy this and do a hover. This part's going to be more difficult, but we'll figure it out. So hover, cursor, we pointer, and then we want to do a, we need to go ahead and convert this. Go and say hex to RGB. Maybe if I could type, we'll convert this RGB value to hex. So it's 1D A1 F2, convert it, copy this guy, paste it in there, and then RGBA. Let's make sure we say background. Whoops. Background color. Oh my goodness. And then this is going to be RGBA, comma, comma, comma. This is pretty light, so I'm going to say 0.1 and just see what it looks like. Take a look. So now if we come on to Footer, we need to set the font size and the font color. So that is something that I missed. So color, and then we want font dash size would be like 15px, and font dash weight would be like 600. Let's take a peek at this. Looks better. Now I need to deal with delete. So delete's going to be interesting, and I don't know why my terminal's acting up, but so now our draft modal content delete. I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then there should be like a disabled. Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and say disabled. So disabled, and honestly let's just do this first and then we'll deal with the color for disabled. So now this will be width of fit dash content. It's probably gonna be basically the same. I could have just shared this, but it is what it is. Height is gonna be 36px, and we'll say padding 16px, font dash size once again be 15px, font weight probably going to be 600 as well, background color also be transparent, and then border none, border radius will be 18px, and might as well display flex this as well, justify content in the center and align items in the center. And then now instead of having a color on this, we'll go ahead and decide the color based on if it's disabled or not. So, and I guess we could put color red on this. So color will be red. And then here we'll say draft dash post modal dash, and I forgot what this is called, delete. I don't know why I didn't call it delete button, but it is what it is. So then we'll do disabled. So disabled, we'll go ahead and say that the color is going to be RGBA, and then 255 comma 0 comma 0 comma, and then like 0.5 or something. And let's see if that works kind of the way that I thought it would. It does. You can see that there's no hover effect. So now if we go ahead and say paste this in .draft post modal, of course, thank you for that. Copy this. I don't know what's going on with my terminals today. My my WSL terminal, like I can't click inside of it very well. It's being weird. So on hover, and you should be able to say like not, I don't know if you have to say like not and then colon disabled and then colon hover. I don't know if this is how it works. We'll have to look into that. Cursor pointer, and then background dash color RGBA, and then 255 0 0 and like 0.1 as well, and we'll kind of see how that looks. This might be the wrong syntax for this. We'll have to double check that. So if we select all, that is the wrong syntax. CSS sudo class hover when not disabled. Let's see. I know you can use like not. You can just do hover colon enabled or not disabled. So colon, this is how we wanted it. Let's try this. I just didn't remember how to use this not pseudo class. The colon hover not disabled. Let's try this. There we go. Cool. And then if we click delete, we need to obviously deal with that, but we can't even see. We can't even see like the posts that we're deleting, so I don't really want to delete those yet. So we need to go ahead and say const delete selected post the react.mouse event on HTML div element, or actually it's a button element. Whoops. Button element e.stop propagation, and then we'll console.log to do delete the selected post from the database. Oops, database. There we go. And then we can go ahead and throw this on this click. Let's just clean up this button a little bit. So we'll have that. Disabled. And then we'll also have an on click. Equal to, and then delete selected post. And then now if we come back in here, open up our terminal, console, whatever, click on post, click on drafts, edit, select all, delete. It says to do, delete selected post, click done, click edit. Can't click on it because it's disabled. Cool. So now we need to deal with displaying like our text post and our draft post, and then our other one, and then the scheduled and the unsent, they're the same exact thing. They just go to a different place when you click on them. Well, actually, they don't really go to a different place when you click on them. They open the same edit thing, but we need to figure out a way to navigate back to the correct area of drafts when we're done editing them. So, with that being said, let's do this. We need a way to actually update the post or make it live as well, but we can deal with that. But let's go ahead and start displaying the posts in here. So let's come back into here, the moment I've been waiting for here. So maybe I just go ahead and create a draft post slash draft post.tsx, and we'll create a draft post.css. Import React from React, and import our /, and this is going to be our draft post.css. Export const draft post. So the draft post is going to need to be able to let's see here, react.fc. We need to think about how this thing works, but we can just return for now a div class name equal to draft-post. So basically we need to be able to select it for deletion, but we need to be able to propagate that back up to the modal itself. Let me go ahead and bring over my Twitter so I can see what's kind of going down. Right, so like, go ahead and set up an interface, and this will go ahead and be our draft post props. And I don't think we need to export that or anything, but basically we need the post. It'll be a post. Go and import that. We need a select for deletion, and this will go ahead and be an e-react.mouse event on an HTML. And really this is like it might be a div. I don't 100% remember if this is a div or something else. We'll have to look at our selection box or our checkbox, and then What else? I think that's probably it. We can have a local state for selected. And then I'm not really sure what else. Okay, and if you select something, it changes to deselect all. So we need to update that as well. I love that this is so complicated. Okay, so let's deal with that as well. So, we also need a const the select all post equal to e react.mouse event. I want to get this done now before I forget. If I forget and then don't do it, it'll be a pain in the butt. Okay, and this is going to be set selected for deletion as an empty string. Oops. Like so. And then what we can go ahead and do is I'm just going to copy this button. But actually, we can just make this button dynamic. So here we'll go ahead and say that if selected for deletion dot length less than 1 question mark, then we'll go ahead and have select all. Otherwise it'll say deselect all, and then here we'll go ahead and say selected for deletion dot length is less than 1 question mark. We'll select all post or deselect deselect all post. It's kind of ugly, but it is what it is. And right now this is broken because our draft post is broken, but that should be fine, I imagine. I don't know why draft post is broken. Draft post. Yeah, I don't know why this is mad at me. Because it, draft post cannot be compiled. Open this up, drafts. What happened to our unsent post? That's fine now. Okay, I don't know what the hell the problem was. Cool, whatever. Okay, so now we have this. Let's go and bring in this guy. Go ahead and have our draft post props. And then go and say post and select for deletion. And then the plan will be to bubble up the ID of the post. So we'll have to figure out how we want to deal with that. So maybe instead of this passing in a instead of this being an eReact mouse event, this might be an ID of number and we'll pass back the number. We could also just pass back the entire post, I guess. Technically we could do that as well. So now I want to go ahead and make some local state const selected and set selected equal to use states, and then this will be a boolean. Sorry, that was false. Const select post will be equal to an e react.mouse event on HTML. I think this is a div, but we might need to double check that. e.stop propagation. Then here we can go ahead and say set selected true, and we can pass that. And then we can also go ahead and call select for deletion and then pass it the post in here like that. And then we can go ahead and say if we also need to pass if we're editing. So editing is a Boolean. Go ahead and also pass that so we know when to display this. So editing, let's make sure we don't break this. Right, so now if we are editing, how do we want to do this? I don't know how I want to do this, because I think if you're not doing stuff, yes, like I think maybe we keep this editing and then we have a checkbox, and this needs to come from our components, and I don't remember what checkbox takes. We need to take a look at checkbox. So if we're editing with a checkbox, size of a div, class name equal to, and then this will be a draft post content, and then we'll have our div with the class name equal to draft post image container for images, and then in the images this will always be like a set height. My web browser scuffed. There it is. Do this again. Interesting. Twitter's being really slow this morning. Either that or my internet's gonna die, so it's gonna be cool. Bitrate seems fine. So anyway, so drafts. I know y'all can't see this. Just trying to see how big this guy is. So it looks like it's always gonna be like 75 by something. Even if the images inside are slightly small, it looks like the box itself is going to be 75 wide. Yeah. Okay. So we can at least set that. Let's take a look at our checkbox. I think that I need to see what this is actually built as. So our checkbox.tsx. The checkbox is a div, I think. Style checkbox here. Style div. It is a div. Okay. And the checkbox itself just takes in a selected and a disabled. It doesn't actually take in. On click, it just toggles the checkbox. So I think we need to add a handler on this. That's optional, and then if the handler exists, call it. I think this is primarily just been for looks. So I'll also go ahead and add in a handler, which will be a React.mouse event on HTML div element and return void. Go ahead and pass in this handler. And then if we have a handler, call the handler, pass in E, and then we'll go ahead and pass in E React.mouse event in here on HTML div element. Probably should have been a button actually, but it is what it is. And that should be fine because this is a style div. Now we can actually click on the said checkbox. We know if it's selected. So now if we go back into our draft post modal or draft post, we can go ahead and pass this a selected, which would equal to selected, and then we'll pass our handler, which will be equal to select post. So now whenever we click on this guy, it'll kind of just work. Now the content, how do we want to deal with this? So content is just going to basically we need to How big is the checkbox? We're gonna have to set the width dynamically based on if we're editing. I don't have a really long test post. Let me create a really long draft post. This is a longer draft post to see what happens when we go multiple lines with no images to see the image container is always always going to be present. Okay, go ahead and save that as a draft. Go into our post, go into our drafts. Okay, so it does wrap the entire side. So we need to check to see if the post has images. There is a thing that just wraps though. I think there's just like a little bit of padding and it wraps. So I think we do need to go ahead and do this. So this is going to be kind of annoying because we're going to do some dynamic sizing here. So then we'll say post dot images post dot images question mark dot length greater than 0. Actually, I think images is always a thing. Dot length greater than 0 for post dot gif. Or do they just go? I think the gif might just go in the image. Let's look at our global interfaces. Find our post here. Post image. Yeah, it's just images. Okay. So go back into our draft post. Yeah, if we just have any images, we'll display this, otherwise we won't. And then now we need to basically calculate the width of this. Const calculate content width, or maybe generate content width is equal to, and then let's do this and this, and then what we need to go ahead and do is we basically need to so our const image width is going to equal to 75 px basically, or 75. I don't know how big this checkbox is, but we can do return, and then we'll go ahead and say width is equal to, I don't know, let's just say 100% for now. And then we can go ahead and just throw this in here. Style equal to generate content width. Just put 100% in there for now. We'll fix that in a second. Now if we come in here, say post dot map. Let's actually wrap this. Post dot map. Post. And then here we'll go ahead and say return our draft. This is totally unnecessary. Draft post. Forgot what this takes in. Let's go ahead and add the missing attributes. Okay, so our post is obviously equal to post. Editing will equal to editing. Then select for deletion, we need to actually implement. So select for deletion is going to go ahead and take in, say, instead of select all post, we'll go ahead and say, let's just put it down here, I guess. Const select post for deletion. You can take in a post of type post. And this is just going to go ahead and say set selected for deletion equal to ... and then selected for deletion, comma post. And that should be legal. And then we can go ahead and pass this in. Select post for deletion. Alright, so now if we open up Twitter and refresh, hopefully we actually see something. I don't know what is going on with this. Why are we not seeing this? Okay, whatever. I don't care. But you know what? It might be because... yeah, we don't have any content. If we click edit, now we can see the content. You can say, wait a minute. But no, it's because we don't have any content. So this is 35. Okay. That's what I need to know. How big that guy was. So now if we go back into our draft post, we have our const and then select or checkbox width equal to 35. So now we basically need to add how big or how small, basically. Then we need to remove. So basically we need to go ahead and say let total to subtract equal to 0. And honestly we could say like if not post.images.length greater than 0, and we're not editing, then we can go ahead and return with 100%. So like less than 1 actually. Whoops. And we're not editing. So let's just do this. So if we aren't messing with this stuff, we'll deal with this. And then let's just go ahead and do this. This is going to be ugly. But we'll just say let total to subtract. And we'll say if we are editing, then we'll say total to subtract plus 35. And we'll say if the post.images.length is greater than 0. What is going on? Let's just set this equal to 0. That should be fine as well. And we'll say total, and this should be total plus equal to 75. Let's make sure this is plus equal to 35. Right, and then we can go ahead and say return. Then we'll return our width. And go ahead and be calc. And then we're going to say 100% minus. And then we'll go ahead and say this. And then I think you have to put px on this. But then we'll go ahead and say $ curly brace and then throw px here. And then total to subtract px. So then if we have some like stuff, we can work around it, and that way we can kind of dynamically set the width. So now we can do that. So right now we're not going to see much. And then we need to, we had to deal with the emojis. Emojis are the bane of my existence. I don't remember how we deal with emojis. But this is like a pretty simple text. So let's do a grep for map content or emoji utils. Map emojis with images. Let's see. I don't know if it's in here or if it's in a different one. So we need to see here. Yeah, convert post content to elements. So now the thing is, we have convert post content for notifications, for message text, profile elements, we have to paragraph. So basically, how do we want to deal with this? Element.prop name is equal to post content span. That's fine, I think. I think maybe we just make a new one of these for draft post, because draft post, the text is like kind of, well, actually, we might be able to just use the post content. The only issue is, do we put location equal to creator? I think not. I think we just put it as content. Let's just see what happens if we run this convert post content to elements and see how bad it looks. I think it actually looks like the text size is basically the same. Convert post content to element. Const post content is equal to convert post content to elements. We'll go ahead and say post dot, and then we might actually use memo for this, but post dot content, then the location will be feed, I think, or something. I'm not sure what the location's supposed to be. And then here we'll go ahead and say, whoops, post content. I think that this is like global. Let's also go ahead and make this a use memo just to be safe. But then whenever the let's do this. But then whenever the content changes, we'll update this basically. Whoops. We'll watch for post.content to change. Did I scuff that? I think I just need to import use memo. We need to return this. There we go. Okay, so now it should just output some text. It does, and I think that's fine the way that looks. And right now, yeah, we have some space. So it's calc 100% minus 35. Saying calc, no, it's just saying that it's calculating it. That's fine. Yep, it's working. Now, obviously, we need to style that so it looks nice. Okay, and now the dreaded part is dealing with the images. So let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and create one with an image. So we go back. And we need to deal with, I think the navigation is okay for now, but we're gonna need to deal with the navigation whenever we start like editing them. Let's first make a draft post with a single image. Okay, hopefully this doesn't dox me. Cool, it didn't. Okay, we need to fix image sizing as well. Image. I think this is a modal issue. Image sizing / cut off action bar when adding an image to the create post modal. And that's kind of also what this is about. I think it's because there's so much space between this and this. Like, I don't know why this content area is so massive. Because the text area isn't that big. Heights fit content. Because there's a min height of 120 on it for some reason. Now what if we keep typing? Yeah, I don't know why there's a min height of 120 on that. Stomach is going crazy, so have you guys heard that? So yeah, we need to like work on this. And this guy's scuffed as well. We'll also go ahead and say reply selector is scuffed. Anyway, so now if we go and click out of this, we'll save it for later. Now we click on our post, go to our drafts. You can see this draft post without an image or okay, here we go with the single image. We might want to rearrange those so that they're in a different order, but that's the least of my concerns at this point. Now, let's see how we deal with our post image. Create post image container. So I'm wondering if we can't use something like this and then override how big it is. So, because we have our post image container, let's look at our create post image container. It's in utils, and this says in and that said feed utils. Yeah, it's in feed utils. Let's check feed utils. Feed utils. Okay. Create image container. So this doesn't have a size on it. But this one is create image container. This one's create post image container. I think this is the one we actually want to look at. So this does not have a size on it. I think maybe we want to pass a size to this. Like a container size. So we can dynamically set how big this is. Let's go to our feed post creator image. And I don't know that that's actually correct. Let's look at our post itself. Post TSX. This is actually, I think we want feed post. Let's look at the feed post itself. Is there not just a straight up feed post? Feed. So feed, let's see here. Feed post creator. Feed is okay. We just display a post. Let's look at our post. So post, what are we using to display the images in post? Image PFP, that's fine. Post a date. So user info. Post content, I'm assuming. Take a look at our post content. Okay, and then if we have an image, we just have a post image container and just create post image container. Okay. Because here's the thing. If we just do this, this is going to be way too big. Oops. This is not going to work. We can take this and throw it into our draft post. I promise you, this isn't going to work. Import that. Post.images. And watch for the post. Sure. That's fine. And then inside of post content, we just rendered it. Okay. We literally just have one of these. That'd be interesting. Because we don't actually wrap this in a div. We literally just do this. That's interesting. Yep. So now the question is, do we pass this a container size? I don't really want to rewrite this. I'd rather just update what we have to be able to pass it an image size or container size. We can go back to our create or feed utils. And this one, forgot what this was called already. This one is create post image container. Let's also delete this. Okay. Create post image container. The big thing is the, let's see here. I mean, the big thing I guess is making sure that we have the correct size in the feed post creator image. Because like what we can do is if we pass this size in, we pass the size question mark string, right? Like we can override this with a style equal to width of size and height of size. Like we can do that easily. The challenge is going to be dealing with, so no, that's fine, I think, because that's just the container, that's not the actual images. Now the challenge is going to be dealing with the actual images itself. So now we can say we pass our post images and we can pass a size of 75. Let's double check this. Matadus. Feed utils. Did I say string or did I say a number? I said a string. Let's make sure we pass that as a string. So now this would be 75 px instead. Now we set the size, height, and width of this image container. That actually worked for this. That actually worked in this case somehow. The edges are a little bit yucky, but that actually kind of worked. So I'm wondering what happens if we add post with a bunch of them. Let's create a post with multiple images. Let's say 2 images. 1, 2. Okay. Save it. Let's create a post with 3 images. Okay, we'll select 3 of these. Okay. And click out of it, save. And finally, let's create a post with 4 images. Go and throw 4 on there. Open. Okay. And close out, save. I'm curious, maybe this is just gonna work. I doubt it, but like that'd be pretty crazy if we just had to update the container size. Yeah, okay, it's scuffed. I wonder why this logic's not working. Because we still have container odd. Okay, well this, the row gap is way too big for one thing. Taking out the row gap actually kind of fixed it. So maybe row gap should maybe be like a percentage. Or we could just override the row gap. So it does need a row gap. And also, why, this is kind of dumb of me. Why did I do it like this? Why is the radius on these and not on this guy? The radius needs to be on these. Anyway. So let's make a couple more tweaks to this. We're actually not that far. Our post image just kind of works. So maybe we do, so this is, can I find the radius on this? Trying to see if I can find the border radius on this. I might not be able to because there's a bunch of, I'm just gonna assume it's like 2 or 4. So like, I'm just gonna add some logic that overrides the border. Also, I'm gonna base FG. Forgot what this was called. So this is our feed post image container. feed post image dot feed dash post. Why is it not finding feed post image creator? Creator images. Is it this? It is. Okay. So I'm going to I wonder if we throw a location on this. And dynamically set the row gap and column gap, maybe? Like, how else am I going to do this? I could just pass a location to the function. And then have like a... Like, I could do that. Like, I could have like a feed post images container dash images dash like feed, or images dash. Just trying to think about like what the best way to do this is. We're already messing with the height and width. I don't think we're gonna need to mess with it anymore. But I could be wrong, right? I mean, we could always just pass it a style to override. Like, that's the other thing we could do. I just don't know that it'll like it. Because style is going to have a specific React TypeScript pass style as prop. Let's see. CSS properties. So what we could do, we could pass override styles, and then we can go ahead and this can be a, what is this called? React, whoops, react.css properties, right? And we can go ahead and just be like, okay, if we, and this could be optional. And then I'm assuming we can just say like, this is just override styles. Yeah. This will be way easier. I'm taking this from our Fwitter or Freedom Tracker series. So then what we'll do is on our container, let's go ahead and do this on everything. This will make it way easier. Then we won't touch anything on our container. What I do want to touch on our container, post creator. I don't like that this is feed post creator, but what can you do? Images, find the CSS. What I do want to do is add the border radius on here, 16px. I want to take the border radius off the actual image. So what's the actual image called? Let's fix this really quick. let's see what the actual image is called. It's gonna be scuffed, that's fine. So then this image is called the feed post creator image. Let's find that. And we'll take the border off that. Although I'm a little bit concerned because this one doesn't have the border radius on it. At least not that I can see. So that's kind of concerning. Huh. Wonder why it doesn't have the border radius on it. I might need to throw overflow hidden on this. Feed post creator image. So the image, take that off of it. And then we'll do dot feed post creator images with an S. Inside the images, let's go ahead and say overflow hidden. I'm assuming that we're overflowing. Would be my guess. Do we have a radius on our borders? We need to fix this. It still doesn't have. So our container does have the border radius. I'm assuming this is why I added it to here. Also, this calc is not working. We need to figure that out, but kind of figure that out later. So why do we not see a border radius on this? Can we overflow hidden this guy? Okay, so that's what it is. We need to put it on the image containers. Or images container. I don't know what this guy does, but he doesn't do jack squat. Let's do it on this. Probably because this one just says fit content. There we go. Now obviously we need to make this smaller. So now what we need to do is override the border radius, the column and row gap, and the height and width. And then the rest of these images kind of fall in line. So now if we come back in here, and this, we haven't even done GIFs yet, so that's gonna be fun. So now if we come back in here and say like const, and we'll say draft post image styles is equal to, and this is going to be a react.css properties, and then say width will be 75px, that the height is 75px, the border radius, I'm just gonna assume on this one, let's say border radius like so. Why? I don't like that. Border radius, let's just say like 4 pixels. It might be big, but we'll see. We'll add a row gap of like 2 pixels and a column gap of like 2px. And then what we can go ahead and do is pass this in as draft post image styles. And that should override a bunch of stuff. Looks good. I'm surprised how easily that worked. A little bit confusing, but it's fine. Okay. So now this draft post. Draft post would be width 100%. Height will just fit content it because the content will be bigger or smaller. It does have a small amount of padding on it. Let me double check Twitter. The padding is 1216, 12px, 15px. What else do we want on this? Display will be flex. I think that's fine. And I think we will justify content flex dash start and align items flex dash start. And I'm assuming we probably want a small column gap. This might break some things. And then column gap maybe like 12. I don't know. I don't know what column gap should be on this. I think that looks right. Like, I think the gap is a little bit big. So I'm gonna say, like, see if I can't see if they put like a padding or something on this. So this padding says 12. Although I think with the way this guy kind of works, we don't necessarily need the 12 on it. But honestly, I think that's actually like relatively close to what it's supposed to look like. So I'm not going to mess with it. We select all, nothing happens. Okay, so we're going to need to, because like we can select from here. Whenever we click deselect, we need a way of syncing those up together. So that's something we need to look into. So I think our selected needs to come from our modal instead. Let's deal with that. So instead of having selected here, the selected needs to come from here. That selected to here, and then here selected will equal to so it'd be like selected for deletion dot sum e dot post id equal to post dot post id. And let's make sure we do this. Basically, we'll check to see if we have that post in our selected for deletion array. And that's how we'll determine selected. Interesting. Why did that not update? Didn't have to selected. That should have changed. Let's see. So let's see. Console.log selected for deletion. Make sure this is working. We also need to figure out why the hell this isn't working. Okay, so selected for deletion does show this. We unclick it. Okay, so we need to deal with unselecting it. Let's see, like here, and let's check to see if selected for deletion dot sum p dot post id is equal to post dot post id. If this is the case, we'll go ahead and say const filtered post equal to selected for deletion dot filter, where e dot post id not equal to post dot post id, and then we'll go ahead and say set selected for deletion post filtered post. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and do this. Finding small bugs here and there. Just refresh it again. Drafts. We need to figure out why that's not loading first time. Click on it. Okay. So there's that. So now if we deselect, it goes back to empty. So why? So it is empty. We come down here. Console.log. Post.post ID, comma. And then we'll go ahead and say backticks. Selected colon, $sign curly brace. And then do this. Figure out why this isn't working. They're all selected false. Select all, now they're all selected true. I didn't update these. So why we're passing selected, and it is coming back as true. So like, what's going down inside draft post? Passing selected. In draft post. Selected colon comma selected. All of these say true. Interesting. I shouldn't have to set this in a use memo. Oops. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I need to do this? Like, what if I do this? Doesn't make sense. This checkbox has always kind of been a pain in my ass, to be honest. All false. Now, this one is true, as we expect. Deselect. They're all false. So why is selected not getting updated? That's what I don't understand. Selected is false. Okay, let's return this. Let's go and say console.log, post ID, backticks. Out of all the things that is gonna slip us up, delete this. Yeah, it literally says selected as false. Selected true. Selected false. Selected true. Selected false. This might be a checkbox issue itself. Go into the checkbox. So selected. How's it going, Nick? We shouldn't need to mess with this. Selected. Click to set select. Clicked. Selected or false. That should be fine. Let's just check selected in here. Const. Oops. This bug is kicking my ass. Selected in checkbox. Don't know why it's kicking my ass, but it is. See if it's updating here. Selected in checkbox false. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Nice, that's good to hear. Click on our drafts. Okay, so all of these are unselected. Edit. Selected in checkbox is false. Selected in checkbox is true. Deselect all. Selected in checkbox is false. Brother ... It might be, I might have to do a use effect in here. Might have to do a use effect. I'm assuming basketball. I don't know what other sports would be in. Playoffs right now. I'm sure there's teams in Florida. Are you a fan of a Florida team or are you a fan of some other team? That clicked. Do the same thing. Just copy the same logic. And do this. Set this to false to start instead. I don't need disabled. Selected. Hornets fan. Where are the Hornets from? I think it worked that time. Finally, holy shit. I need to figure out why the hell this is being annoying. Okay. There we go. Holy balls. That was annoying as hell. Okay. Now this needs a hover effect. Charlotte Hornets? Interesting. Were they just good when you were a kid, or like how'd that come about? Because I know you're from Florida. Okay. Now that that's fixed, we can delete this shit. This needs a hover and an on click. Gotcha. Nice. Honestly, I don't know that this needs to change. I think this is fine. I think we'll just wrap it. Maybe we'll just do like a text overflow. But like honestly, I think this is fine. We already have the width and the height that's just going to be set. So like, honestly, you could probably just do this and be like, height, bit, dash content. Do the same thing here. And just call this one good. I need an on click on this. Damn, that's tough. Anything could happen in the playoffs though, you never know. This is already styled. This needs a hover on it though. Draft, post, hover, and then this will be a cursor pointer. Background, oops. Background color RGBA 0,0,0.1. The NFL draft's around the corner, so I got that to look forward to at least. Even though I don't watch basketball and stuff. Cool. Looks good. Now if you click on one of these, it needs to take us to the create post modal. I don't remember how this works, so let's go to our modal container. Create post is just display. Okay, we're going to update that. I'll be right back, man. I gotta go to the restroom real quick, and then I'll continue here. I gotta assume you guys are gonna go QB at some point, right? Or maybe I missed a free agency and you guys got a QB. This is like an interesting draft for the Chiefs too, because it's been since I've been in elementary school since we've had like a top 10 pick. So I think we're gonna go either defensive end or receiver, it sounds like. So that'll be interesting. But we also have 2 first-round picks, so that'll be fun. Now I'm wondering if I don't update the modal slice to make this easier, because now what's going to happen basically is whenever I click on this or draft post modal or draft post, whenever I click on the draft post, it's going to open the other modal. Const open edit post e react.mouse event on an HTML div element, and this e.stop propagation. Basically, we need to set the Oh yeah, I guess you guys did trade away Waddle. I think the Chiefs signed someone off the Dolphins squad as well. So we need to set our create post DTO. We need like dispatch. We need to get the dispatch. Const dispatch. App dispatch. Equal to use dispatch. We need to grab the dispatch, and then let's look at our post slice v2. Import. Oops. Save. Post slice v2. I'm assuming we have an update state. Chiefs need really like defensive linemen, and then maybe corners, but like that's crazy that you guys got a lower pick than us. The Chiefs have like 29 and 9, I believe. I know they have 9, but I think they also have 29. Let's see here. So like I'm thinking about maybe creating a low draft post. Let's go ahead and say And I guess I could just pass in the entire post and we can kind of break it down. If we come in here, let's make a reducer. But yeah, Chiefs also have 2 first-round picks. I think ultimately it's going to come down, like for the Chiefs wise, I think it's going to just come down to who's available. They signed Kenneth Walker, so like I don't see a world where we go running back, but if the Love guy is available, like who knows at this point. Load draft post dates action payload action. We'll take in a post. Oops. Type post. Sure. Okay. So now we need to fill out. I'm hoping we prioritize defense as well, to be honest though. Rice should be back and like actually healthy. And yeah, like our receivers should be better this year. We should have some like actually healthy people. So I'm just hoping for the best. But yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. I think it's gonna all come down to who's available. Yeah, and the Rams just signed like half the Chiefs. This is a Neovim. The Rams just signed half the Chiefs cornerbacks, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So loading will be false. That's fine. We can probably delete this. We're gonna say ... state. Shouldn't be error. Active will be true. True. Reopen modal. Be true, I think. Because actually no. Be false. We can keep this. Content is going to go ahead and be the action.payload content. Author will be action.payload.author. Payload.author. Whoops. Scheduled will be action.payload.scheduled. I'm trying to think of a YouTuber. Is it what's his face? Is it Flight Reacts? Like it's pissed off when the Patriots lose? Because I know he's a big Patriots fan. He's an idiot. Schedule date. Public will be false. Audience will be action.payload.audience. Okay, or reply restriction will be action.payload. That dude is a moron, I swear. Reply restriction. Community selected. I don't know how this one will work. I think this one has a community on it. Action.payload. Does this have a community? It doesn't. So I'm just gonna set this. I'm just gonna keep this one as undefined. Images. Now this part's gonna be interesting. Ironically, I don't like. Ironically, there's a YouTuber I watch that's like a massive Broncos fan, and I couldn't watch him this year. I couldn't watch the YouTuber. He normally does like funny like NFL like recap videos of the week basically. But I couldn't watch him this year because he was just gloating about the Broncos basically. Okay, so images is going to be interesting because how am I going to deal with images? Because I think these are like strings or something else. Let's see. It is a post image or null. Okay, so we need to see. It can't have a poll. It's not gonna be reply to. I don't think. Okay, there's a guy on YouTube called That's Good Sports. He's a massive Broncos fan, and like I used to watch his stuff. But it is a post image. I used to watch his stuff a lot whenever the Broncos weren't good, because he just bitched about how good the Chiefs were, but then he was being like extremely over the top this year. Kind of annoying. So let's say if the action.payload.images.length are greater than 0. I spelled length wrong. I think I've heard of him, but I don't think I've ever seen any of his content. So if we have post, if the action.payload.images.length equal to 1, we'll check to see if it's a GIF, because we only have one GIF. Let's go ahead and say let images equal to an empty array and let GIF equal to null. So then this and damn, 7 mil subs. That's insane that you get banned with that. Images 0 dot image type. I'm assuming I can say is equal to GIF or dude, I would be pissed. In 7 years, and well, he probably made some money before then. I was thinking like back then YouTube money might not have been as good, but I think he was probably in the prime of YouTube money, to be honest. So he was probably set already. I would have just retired if I was him, to be completely honest. Don't know if this is gonna work or not, to be honest. We'll see. Right, exactly. Like you wouldn't even need, like, and if he's successful in real estate, like you really don't need the money. But like with the amount of money that he probably made on YouTube with 7 mil subs, the like being a realtor would have been like a side quest for him. He probably was already set from YouTube as is. Oh, this is images dot image type. There we go. Cool. Exactly. Like if you invest that right, like you're set, man. Like whatever. Okay, let's see why this is mad. Now images. Actually, this needs to be undefined, it looks like. GIF will go ahead and be GIF. Go ahead and remove this. I don't think it can be reply. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of this. And then we can just do the default view client. Okay, so what is going down here? So load draft post. That gets wrapped. At your peak of 300k a month, like you should have millions. I mean, I guess it depends on how smart or dumb you are with your money, right? But what is going on here? If delete this. There we go. Okay. If we have this, don't know why this is mad. Sure. Okay, whatever. But some people aren't very good with their money, so it is what it is. Like, what my dream would be if I hit it big on YouTube, just to like keep working basically until YouTube has me saved up enough money that I can retire. Like that, I wouldn't be blowing my shit. Okay. So now we can load the draft post. Come back into our draft post. But some people aren't that good with money, so it is possible that he was blowing that 300k. I don't know how you would be able to. I don't know how you would possibly be able to spend 300k a month, but load. Oh, I didn't export it. Export it. Post. Oops. Slice v2. Make sure you export this guy. I need to clean this up as well because this is getting pretty nasty. Clean this up. Damn, we're getting close to being done with this. I need to figure out why it's not loading that to start. That's weird. I need to watch for the length to change or something. So this is load draft post. We can go ahead and find our draft post. I would love to be able to get to a point where YouTube like tutorials kind of sustain me for life. That'd be cool. Okay, so now if we click on a draft post, don't know why my Tmux won't let me click in it anymore. On click equal to open edit post. I haven't talked about it much, but I think that after this Let's Build Twitter stuff is done, and after I finish my mobile app, I think this channel is just going to be a dedicated gaming channel and live stream gaming channel. And then I think I'm gonna make a new channel that is dedicated to programming, because this one kind of got muddied and this channel is basically dead. Like, I could try to continue doing my whatever it's called. I can try to continue doing my long plays and stuff on this channel, and if it takes off, it takes off. It'll be for fun, and then do like the programming content. And then instead of trying to monetize the YouTube channel, I'm going to try to monetize the website. Okay, so if I click on this, load draft post, post v2, active true, open. I don't know if reopen modal is supposed to be true, but it's what it is. This is a draft post without a GIF, has author, it's not scheduled, it's public is false. Doesn't have any images. I think that's fine. So now that means what we need to do is in our slice, our modal slice, I'm going to add a new piece of state. And I'm going to call this like previous modal. It's going to be a string. And it's going to be empty. previous modal will start out as empty. And then what we'll do is we need a set previous modal, I guess. And then we need to create like a set previous modal and then reopen modal. And then we need to figure out which modal to close, I guess. Which, this is already complicated enough. We'll just go ahead and say update previous modal. And then this will take in state, an action. It's going to be a payload action type string. And then here we'll go and say return our state. And then here we'll go ahead and say that our previous modal will be equal to action.payload. Okay. And then we'll also go ahead and say reload previous modal state. And then maybe we also take in a payload action of the current modal. Action payload, just to make it a little bit easier on ourselves. Return state. And then we'll go ahead and say state dot previous modal colon true. That should be fine, I think. We just need to be careful because we need to make sure that the modal we put in here is like correct. And then we'll go ahead and say action.payload false. Be a payload action. Okay, now we need to go ahead and do update previous modal. And this will actually and reload previous modal. Okay. Now what we would do how do we want to do this? This is gonna be kind of yucky. Now if we go into our draft post here, and I think whenever we come back, we want to reset the post date. We can deal with that as well. I think whenever we open up our post draft modal, we'll want to reset our post date. But then we want to dispatch and update previous modal. And the previous modal is going to go ahead and be our display whatever. So we go into our modal container. And this is going to be our display. Let's see. Display. Not create post. Oh, man. Shoot. Gosh dang it, bro. It's not gonna work. Dang it. This plan's not gonna work. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do instead I mean, we can still do this. They're gonna be display post draft. This one actually, because we want this property. I do need to wrap up here. So let's just do this at least. Is this where we want to be? Yeah, so update previous modal. We display draft post drafts. Now if we refresh this, open this, click drafts, deal with this. We click on this guy. Previous modal, if we go to our modal slice, previous modal is display draft post. And if you go here, display draft post. Although I could just store the previous state. I could JSON.stringify the previous state and then reload the state. Let's do that instead. So I'm gonna write a note because I gotta hop off here. Instead, JSON stringify the previous state, store it in a previous modal state, then reload it. So instead it'd be like this. We'd say like store reload point. And then in our modal slice, instead of having reload previous modal, we will save reload points. And this won't take anything in, because what we'll do is we'll have, I'm gonna hop off here as soon as I do this. Then what we can do, the previous modal, say reload point, still be a string, and we'll say reload point, the string. And then what we'll do is we'll return dot 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 state, and then the reload point will be JSON.stringify the state. Then we can reload that. Let's export this. I gotta get going because I gotta get the trash out for the trash man comes. And now we come back to our post draft modal and save reload point from a modal slice and delete. Let's update previous modal. Now we have the entire state stored in a string. So now if I refresh this, then we can reload from that point once we're done. So like if we come in here, drafts, click on this. Now in our modal, now you guys can't see this, we have a reload point. It's basically a screenshot of where we were. Because then what we can do is whenever we click on this, we can close this modal, open the create post modal, and then once we're done in the create post modal, either we post it or we close out of it, we can reload this draft modal exactly how it is. Cool. Alright, that's going to go ahead and do it for this stream. Thank you all for stopping by. Appreciate you, everyone. And I'll see you guys on Friday for some more Let's Build Twitter. Hopefully we can get this thing done by then.